Yo, what up? It's DJ Sus One, the feature presentation radio show. My co-host Ali V is here.
Hi, Sus.
How you doing?
Hi, Sus One. What's going on?
Why you acting extra nice? You're
what?
mean to me.
This is not true. Not true.
We got a special guest in the building. She looks absolutely amazing. I love the style, as she always styled out. Janelle Monáe's in the building. What's popping?
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
Chilling. What's good? Welcome to the show.
Man, thank you so much for having me.
We've never met before. First of all, I want to tell you right now. How can I say this? "Make You Feel" is one of my favorite records in the past 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
thank you.
I told Ron when he first played it to me that's a hit record.
Thank you. That
you know what I'm saying? So I want to talk a little bit about Dirty Computer, obviously. Yeah. And
it's Make Me Feel.
Make Me Feel?
Since I know it's pre-recorded, you said Make You Feel.
Oh, sorry, Make Me Feel.
Yeah.
No, I really love that record.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. It has a classic vibe with a new swag to it. You know what I'm saying? I really like that record. So where did that energy come from for that record? Let's start off there.
Man, well, you know, I always knew I needed to make this album, Dirty Computer. I had the concept before I put out my first album, The Arc Android. I needed to live, though. I needed to have experiences, and I needed to tap into just a different side of myself. I think that going and doing like movies like Hidden Figures and Moonlight really encouraged me, and being around the artists around my label encouraged me even more, because I felt like it was important to tell my story and to tell our stories, because constantly they're erased. You know, I didn't know, you know, not having films like Moonlight and Hidden Figures, where we're talking about like the black women who were responsible, the women who were responsible for getting the America's first astronaut into space, that easily could have slipped through the cracks if we didn't tell that story. You know, in the story of Moonlight, you know, I just thought it was important this time around to be as honest, be as vulnerable as possible in my songwriting. I used to self-edit a lot, like go into the studio, like, oh, I don't want to talk about that, I don't want to talk about this. And, you know, as a writer, I could come up with, you know, conceptual albums that really didn't have to challenge me in that way. And so this album is a celebratory album for us. It's through the lens of a black woman. I'm a young African-American woman, very proud of it. And Black Girl Magic inspired this album. And I wanted it to be a celebratory album for oppressed groups, you know, that just by their very existence, you know, I can give a couple examples. You sitting in Starbucks, and because you're black, you're escorted out. You know, you're in your backyard minding your own business, and the police think that your cell phone is a gun and you are killed. These are things that really deeply upset me, and still deeply upset me and hurt me. And the concept of Dirty Computer is about those in the position of power who abuse their power, trying to erase us. And I didn't want to stay mad, so I tried to create something that was triumphant, that made us feel proud when we listened to it.
I actually want to ask about that, because I'm a mixed breed, right?
Yeah.
I'm black and white, and I've definitely experienced a lot of the things like the kids from Starbucks have experienced. And some days I feel like society's come a long way, but then some days I'm like, we're still back where things were so racist. How do we, in your opinion, is there any way to get past the way society views African Americans and the way they treat us? Like, because it feels like it just keeps getting worse and worse.
Yeah, I think through storytelling, like us just being very honest and vulnerable, so that hopefully it promotes more empathy. And I think once you empathize with somebody, even if you don't agree with them, you may start to like them and understand them. And I think through understanding becomes unity, becomes love. And that's not always the case, because racism is a disease, you know, that has plagued this country and outside the world for centuries. And so I think it starts there. I think it starts with listening, not to respond, but listening to understand. There's a difference. And I think if we can start listening to each other and not, you know, being defensive and feeling personally attacked when somebody is sharing with you, when we're sharing with those who, you know, who will make a decision to call the police on us because we're in a Starbucks and we look threatening, or when we start when we start having conversations, it's just going to be very important that we're heard, and and that people are really listening to understand.
Yeah.
You are one of the very few artists that actually use, your platform to discuss these, social issues. And I know recently we did have an interview with Cardi B, and she was saying that she's always hesitant to speak about those things because she feels like a lot of people weigh in, and a lot of people have an opinion on that. But you've done it. I mean, we've seen it many times. You introduced Kesha for the Grammys. You recently spoke about Beyonce and her whole movement with Coachella. Why now did you feel like you want to open up your platform more and be honest? And where does this fearlessness come from?
Well, I mean, just speaking of two women, I think that are just deeply inspiring to me, Cardi B and Beyonce. That encouraged me to be as fearless as possible. I think they are just, I think they're the shit, and I think for different reasons, but I think that they are very authentic in the way that they approach their music, their lives, totally in control of their image and what it is that they want to say and do. And I love seeing us move in that way. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I don't have any, I feel like I'm surrounded by that. Like, these are my peers. Mm-hmm. So I can walk confidently because they're walking like that. I feel encouraged by it. I feel like when they win, I win. And it just makes me feel like I should not be afraid of speaking my truth, and when I was writing songs like Django Jane and even Make Me Feel and Pink, and even I like that, the whole album's out now, but when I have put those songs out, and it was with those women in mind, with us who, are just constantly trying to remind people that we are free and we are going to continue to express that in our art.
I see. Now, I got to meet Prince one time through Mariah Carey, and it was. How do you explain meeting Prince for somebody else? It's like meeting royalty. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to know what it was like, because just a few days. Well, it was like 2 days ago. It's been like 2 years that he passed. 21st. So I wanted to know if you had any stories that you can share that maybe you haven't shared, of what it was like working with Prince in the studio, how that magic was.
Yeah.
For people who haven't been able to experience it.
Sure. Well, it's a little difficult for me to, really speak about him because I had a personal relationship with him.
Yeah.
Obviously, he inspired me and so many artists growing up, and as I, made certain decisions with my career, I've had Paisley Park and him to be inspired by. I don't think if he didn't have Paisley Park, or if he existed, I don't know if we would, my crew, Wonderland Art Society and Wonderland Records, us, I don't think we would know how far we could go, musically and and having him as a mentor. This is a person who didn't allow his mystery to get in the way of his mentorship, and also someone who gave without expectation and gave, not wanting to be acknowledged for his giving. And so just out of respect for that, I don't want to go into detail on what we've worked on. He was on my last album, The Electric Lady. We did a song called Giving Them What They Love. I will say that, I had full creative control over that song. I was so shocked when he said, "What do you want to do? What do you want me to do?" And it was the easiest feature to get. Like, I thought it was going to be like this whole long, drawn out lawyers. It was the easiest feature that I think that I've gotten today.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm forever indebted to him. And he's missed, and I try to honor him and speak his name and make songs that I think will make him smile.
Nice. Yeah. Well, to me, Prince is top two. Him and Michael Jackson, like my two top favorite artists of all time. Mm-hmm. I'm curious, who inspired you growing up?
Oh, those two, definitely.
Well, those two inspired everything on earth.
And it's funny, I actually had the opportunity to perform "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough" with Prince.
Wow.
Yeah, he covered Michael Jackson songs when I would go on tour with him. And Janet Jackson, Lauryn Hill, David Bowie, Madonna. But I love all these people for different reasons. Like they had different superpowers that that encouraged me to tap into mine even more. But the list goes on. And I'm really excited about the new talent that's out there too. I love Lizzo. I love Kalani, Sid the Kid, SZA, Saint Beauty. I'm loving all this black girl magic that's just out here owning things.
Is there? I'm hearing that there might be a Missy collaboration coming up. Is that true? First of all, that would be complete magic.
I will say this: Missy Elliott, hands down, inspired me growing up. Like she made me feel confident in my uniqueness. Or when people called me weird, I always would go, for going to thrift stores, and I remember cutting off my relaxer, and just like nobody in my school was really doing some of the things that I was doing, which was fine, no disrespect, or I'm not trying to say that I was the most interesting kid in school, but there were times where I felt so out of place, and having Missy's albums and her imagery and just how she presented herself. Yeah. She walked in it. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't trying to be anything other than, she fully embraced her uniqueness. And so I've had the opportunity to sit down with her and talk to her, and she's like a big sister, and I hope that we can make something happen. She's excited. I'm excited.
I'm reading her eyes. I feel like it's gonna happen.
Listen, I'm the type of person where, when that day comes, I will rejoice.
Now listen, I know you're a very positive person. You don't like talking about negativity, but
I try to be. I don't know, not all the time.
But Missy is one of the greatest artists of my generation. You know
oh,
what I'm
absolutely.
saying? And I feel like, and not to disrespect today's generation, because some of them do show love, but I feel like the majority do not acknowledge our heroes from like Missy from the past generation. It's not even that long ago, 90s, early 2000s. A lot of them don't. The newer kids do not even acknowledge them. Don't. I feel like they give them the respect that they deserve, and I don't understand why that is. And so I'm just. Do you feel like us as a culture is making a mistake? Maybe we're not pushing our heroes enough, or do you feel like these kids? Because I don't understand why these kids don't understand their history. When I was growing up, I knew all my parents' music. They taught me all that. I knew the current music. I knew all types. So what's your feelings on today's generation as far as not paying homage to a lot of our heroes?
Well, I mean, I just do what I can do. I don't think it's anybody's responsibility, honestly. I think, there are a lot of kids who are just discovering how to make music or how to record. I mean, you got the internet, you have all these programs, you have so much, that's in front of them that they're trying to figure out. And then they're innovative in the way that they're doing it. Right. I think that through you have to I just don't think everybody's the same. I mean, some people find out artists who have come before them through samples. Like maybe one of their favorite artists will sample an artist, and they'll go look for that artist, and they're like, wow, I didn't know that. Some of them are just born like yesterday, and they didn't grow up with Missy. But I love bridging the gap of like those who inspired me, pushing that music forward so people can do music history. I think it's about remaining innovative in the process. I don't think there's anything new under the sun. Like no one person created anything. It's the combination of styles that makes an artist innovative, and how they use it. It's just like, I didn't come up with the color white or black or
but you swagged
blue,
it out.
Yeah, but it's the way the way we're wearing these things that give us our identity that people like or they don't. But yeah, I think it's cool when people can discover artists that I love through my work. Like I love paying homage. I love that, and at the same time, I love being Janelle Monáe.
Nice.
Now, talking about being innovative, you have a motion picture, which I think is absolutely clever. Talk about some of the visuals.
Sure. Well, yeah, I mean, I call it an emotion picture. Some people will call it a visual album, a short film, but it's out right now. I came out with the album, and I've always wanted to do this. I just, could not wrap my head around how to do it, especially when I first came into the industry. It was just so much being a new artist that I had to just focus on that, that I didn't figure out how could I make, you know, something that visually captures what it was that I did on the album. And I'm a writer. I grew up writing at the Young Playwrights Roundtable, the Coterie Theater in Kansas City. So as a teenager, that meant that I would write these short stories. If my work was good enough, the local actors would perform it. And so my imagination, I've always been in tune with it. I've always loved science fiction. I love Afrofuturism. I love talking, which is us talking about ourselves in the future and putting ourselves in the future, knowing that we made it, knowing we can be as magical as we want to be, and telling our stories through our own lens and through our mouths. And so that's what Dirty Computer is. It's an Afrofuturistic story that deals with, you know, this regime of dictatorship that is trying to erase those who are unique, erase the oppressed groups, to create a society that is monolithic. And we come out of it, you know, or do we? I guess you have to go watch it.
You know what's so funny? I always, like, growing up, I would hear music and I would always say, let me see how I would make this video if I had to make the video. So when you actually, like, create a visual piece for us, it's like, it's so interesting to see, like, how you interpret the song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really dope. I'm really proud about your project.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. Thank you so much.
I want to talk politics real quick, and then I want to talk more about the album before we close.
Yeah.
It's only a year and a half left, right? But maybe this is a stupid question. Do you think Donald Trump will ever get impeached?
Well, you know
Can
what?
you go snatch his ass out of
right.
office?
I think it's a process. It's taken much longer, but I mean, it's very clear that what's going on is just illegal.
Yeah.
And I want it to happen, you know, in the way that it's supposed to happen. I wish it could come sooner. I'm not gonna lie.
Five years ago.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think it's just bad for humanity to have someone representing us, and it's so divisive. And I don't want to. And it's not just him. You know, the enablers, his allies. There are people who support him. And I just think that, you know, this is a land that my ancestors helped build. Like, they built the White House, and the disrespect that has taken place for us, for them, for minorities, for immigrants, for the LGBTQIA community, for women, you know, turning on TV and seeing women's rights being trampled on in the way that they're done. It's in no small part due to him and the policies and the people around him who believe these things, who believe, you know, who believe in a division, you know, through power. And yeah, I think you know, is whatever's going to happen will happen. I do think that we have control over this next election. It's important to vote in the midterms.
Well, hold on, stop right there, because that goes right to what I was going to ask.
We have to vote. Like,
we have to vote.
We cannot
I'm a big
be passive about this.
I'm a big conspiracy theorist.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask you this question. You said we have to vote, so I think that answers it. But do you believe that the votes matter, or do you believe that presidents are placed? Like, I be feeling sometimes presidents are placed by higher powers behind the government, and that votes are sometimes an illusion. Not saying don't vote, because go vote. But do you believe that there's any truth to that at all?
I believe that there's voter suppression. You know, I believe in that. There are ways that people are, like, for instance, the young woman who went to prison for 5 years for voting because she was a felon, or maybe she was, I forget her name right now, but I was like, 5 years? She didn't know that she couldn't vote. I mean, I went to go vote for midterm elections, and I didn't even know that I wasn't a part of a county that I was. Like, they had just had a meeting, all decided that this county is going to be called a different name. And so I couldn't vote for the person that I wanted to vote for because I didn't live in that county before. So I think there are certain obstacles put in front of us. Minorities. I mean, we have so much power, you know, and say. And I think that there are absolutely there's a thing called voter suppression, where, you know, if you are a convicted felon, or, you know, all those things can stop you from being able to have a say in this democracy. I think that we saw it, though, with Barack Obama. We got him elected. Mm-hmm. You know, there's power to electing great people. I think that obviously, to me, and I had a personal relationship with him and our First Lady, Michelle Obama, forever my First Lady. Mm-hmm. They cared. They cared. Like, they cared. They cared about this country. They still care about this country. And you got that. I'm sure there was a lot of things that he probably would have wanted to do, but had to go through so much bullshit, you know, just to get something done. And there's so much politics, like you were mentioning earlier, like the politics in our entertainment industry can get in the way of our love for our craft. But I absolutely think that we hold the power. They know that, and there are laws that can keep us from voting, and we just have to be on it. We got to make sure our paperwork is right. Make sure we're not in jail when it's time to vote, because we represent. Oh my God, we have the power, and I hope that we turn out in numbers, just like we turned out for Black Panther. Let's turn out for voting.
True facts.
Yeah.
So before we end in closing and talking about the album, Allie, is there anything else you had?
No, I mean, I wanted to discuss Pink if you have time, because that video was, there were a lot of. I guess like you kind of unraveled this whole feminist, in my opinion, like a feminist message that you were delivering. And I just wanted to know like the backstory with that, because there are like, that's the type of video like you have to watch over and over and over again to catch new things.
Yeah. No, Pink is a women's empowerment anthem. It was inspired by Black Girl Magic, though. I wanted to see us, our unique selves coming together and celebrating each other while celebrating ourselves. That was really the intention behind it. I felt like looking at the media and seeing how us as Black women are oftentimes looked at, it made me. It's upsetting to not be able to turn to images and see us just having a good time, like having the right, to happiness, to being able to live freely and enjoy ourselves, and not have anybody police us. I just thought it was important for me to highlight all the Black girl magic that you see in different forms. I mean, there were some women who had on pants, some women didn't have on pants. Each pant was different. Like I tried as much as I could to be inclusive. Obviously, we're a sea of amazing women, so it's kind of difficult to put everybody on. But I hope that through us loving ourselves, we can love each other more. And I wanted to visually capture that.
In closing, Dirty Computer out now.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming to the Feature Presentation Radio Show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for staying swagged out. Thank you for representing women in the Black culture like you do. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank y'all. I really enjoy this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's DJ Sus won the feature presentation. It's Hip Hop Nation. Janelle, Monáe, thank you.